How do you make it so that Zoom auto mutes you whenever you're not making noise?
I hit the mute button.
Or you actually just press the button every time?
Yeah, you just hit the mute button, you loser. Welcome back, everybody. We are back for the third hour.
He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill your character. You can't.
That's fine. You don't understand. Scott's been my DM for 15 years. I'm not concerned about him killing my character.
It's time, Scott. It's time for a change.
I would say the third and final hour, but we're gonna go till 1 a.m. today. So, the third of 4 hours. I hope everybody's gonna stay up nice and late, fuck up all their sleep schedules for some more D&D fun. Let's just do it. Grommen,
Yeah.
Are you alive? I got
Grommen.
another beer. I'm good to go. I'm ready for this shit.
Mr. Grommen.
Yeah, I realized that first hour there I didn't have a beer and I was very disappointed in myself, which is why we needed the third.
And I believe we might as well set this now. I believe we're gonna try and make 4 hours the regular. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Sound good?
Oh, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, we'll
you know.
try. I said try. Try.
If you follow Mathis on Twitter, you know that he needs his beauty sleep. Otherwise, he turns into a pumpkin. So,
Listen, I sleep a lot.
And the time requirement for that beauty sleep just varies unpredictably.
No. It's always the same amount of sleep. It's just when I'm
Right,
getting.
when it happens, right?
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Man, it's just the worst when my sleep schedule's like, time for bed at 8 a.m. Like, Christ.
I wonder if there's anybody else that tweets as much as you do about sleep. It's just
I don't know. I'm sure there has to be like sleep specialists.
I'm sure there's like a Twitter just for sleeps.
Yeah.
There's an ASMR Twitter somewhere.
Dude, I'm gonna start. Well, Krendor's kind of got a leg up on the ASMR, but
He listens to some weird shit. Let's just be honest.
he makes some weird shit. Let's just be
He
honest.
sent me like this one time. He sent me like a fairy man dude
What?
ASMR, and it was like weird as fuck. I was like, why are you sending this to me, Grindor?
All right. Anyway, back to the game. Grommen, are you dead? Let's find out.
so. Grommen, you watched last week as Rye did the best she could to escape in this city. You saw her tactics and the like. Coming out of
Grommen is not going to be very graceful.
So Grommen knows that he is outmatched in this situation. At the very
He's
least,
under the impression that he's gonna say that he didn't do it, and that he's going after the guy who did it. That's why he's running.
That's
He
brilliant.
pointed that direction. He was like, he went that way, and now he's running that way towards him. And he's still
So he's
going.
thinking they're all running together to go get this guy.
Yeah, we're going together. That's his mentality.
Really, it's the long con. She's going for the long deception, not ignoring the dead body at her feet when the running.
Just trying to get as many deception rolls as she can as she drags this out. Till finally they believe her.
Yeah, we just need Grommen to shout, "I didn't cheat."
Yeah.
so if Grommen is chasing a suspect, but does Grommen have an? Okay, I think I know the answer to this question. Does Grommen have an endpoint in mind, or is it just chasing the suspect?
He's just chasing the suspect.
Okay. So, is Grommen trying to subtly distance himself between the 8 people chasing after, or just chasing the suspect?
He's chasing the suspect, and like every once in a while, he's like making a comment like, "I think you went this way. No, that way. I think I see footprints." He's just like saying random shit like that and going.
So like just chasing, says things out loud randomly, as these people have theoretically a growing distance between you and them to get away quicker and quicker. Randomly grabbing a peasant, like, "Where did he go? Where did he?" And then kind of going off or whatever. Okay, so unlike Rye, who was trying to get away from somebody else who knew the city very well, somebody else who was equally flexible and acrobatic. Sorry. I mean, acrobatic. Grommen's the flexible one. Trying to get away from somebody who's acrobatic and whatnot as well. For you, you're trying to outrun these other well-built people in heavy armor. So for you, we're going to have it be con saves. Con saves is athletics and con saves, as opposed to acrobatics and con saves. Okay. So the first thing we're going to have you do is your first athletics check to make your distance.
Of course, because you're flexible.
You remember because you're like so.
So you go booking it as hard and as fast as you can, running down the street. I think you went that way, and you're running as fast as you can. You're already bridging quite the gap. You're sorry, not bridging. You're drawing quite the gap between the two of you. I'm sorry, between you and the group of them. So just instantly, right off the bat, this is an easy run for you. Roll for me another athletics check to see if you're able to continue.
Okay. I was a sprinter in the uni. Oh shit.
In half-orc uni?
Unfortunately, it was only the 50-meter.
That's fine. That's fine because for you, it's not as big of a deal. I mean, when you roll like that, you're actually kind of keeping pace with them. They're just moving so slowly. They're also trying to force their way through the city. Now, it is the middle of the night, so they don't have to fight through crowds, but it is arduous work to run in this armor. I need one thing from you right now. It's actually a deception check to try to be like, oh, which one are they? Because you are trying to throw them off or get them to believe the fact that this is what you're doing. Dropping the deception, that's an amazing roll. And the
reason why I was slow at running, I was like shaking some dude down. I was like, hey, which way did you go?
So you're dropping deception on the people around you and being very convincing to those around you, even the ones chasing you aren't close enough to really eat the deception. You're hoping that there'd be some ad hoc award for doing so well with these people. So continue running. Roll me another athletics check to make even more of a gap. Oh my God, you're just crushing it. God.
Go
okay.
ramen.
Now at this point, it's the first time you're going to roll me a con save to make sure that you're not running out of breath. So sadly, the injury that you took, you did lose some blood. You did get into a fight before you started doing this run, and you have been running for a while. It is a little exhausting. You are wearing medium armor. It is a little exhausting as you keep moving. You're running out of breath a bit, but Gromit is no wimp. Gromit pushes forward. Gromit has drinks to buy. So, so roll me one more athletics followed by a deception.
All right. Athletics. Oh God. And deception. Oh my God.
I just imagine Gromit like full sprinting and just pointing, but like, he went that way, and then just keep running straight.
So at this point, you're actually drawing such a big gap between the two of you that you cannot even consistently see them behind you. If you turn a corner, you have to run quite the straight line and then look back over your shoulder to see them. And even then, you're only seeing them if they happen to be passing through a lighted area, because this is nighttime and you can see quite the distance in darkness, but you can't see that far. So you have quite the gap between you and them.
Dark vision, bro. Don't sell me short.
No, it's you're much greater than 120 feet away from these people. So what I'm getting at is, at this point in time, does Gromit want to try to give him the slip? Does he want to try to get away, or is he just going to keep running and hope that eventually they get too tired to keep chasing?
I think he's kind of dumb, so he's going to just keep running. I feel like
be true to yourself.
Yeah, I feel like me personally, I wouldn't do that, but like Gromit is kind of pretty dumb, so I think he's just gonna keep going.
I imagine him sprinting until he gets to the broken bottle and he just bursts through the door and he orders a beer and sits down. It's like, I did it.
So roll for me a Constitution save and then
athletics.
So Gromit at this point in time is actually running. He's starting to really run out of breath. He's really starting to run out of breath. So you're going to roll another athletics check at this point to keep going, but it's not like this is an easy run for you. Luckily for you, despite the fact that you are out of breath, Gromit's continuing to hold pace, and you haven't seen them in quite a while. So eventually you get to the point where you don't think they're whether or not they're even chasing you any longer. You have no clue. One, you haven't seen them in a long time. Two, you're kind of lost. You have no idea where you are. And three, you are really out of breath. I mean, it was already exhausting coming out of the rage originally. Now you're just beat. So what does Grumman do at this
What do
point?
I see around me now that I'm stopped for a moment?
Yeah, so now
I'm
you
gonna do a slight jog.
Yep. So yeah, it's just kind of like slowing down your pace, but still continuing to move. Looking around you, you are running along one of the city walls, but the neighborhood that you're in is a very, very nice neighborhood. There is almost nobody in the streets. There's almost nobody around you. You do at this point, as you're kind of jogging along, slowing down and jogging along, you see a couple guards with one of them, walking side by side, one of them with a torch in hand, whose attention is drawn to you as you're jogging. But you are in a very nice part of the city.
Okay. He's gonna see these two guards and they're like, attention is looking at me. He's just gonna jog on by and be like, good day. Just keep going.
So one last, and I'm afraid to ask this, one last deception check to convince these guards that the reason why you're pouring sweat out of breath is that you're jogging.
Dear God.
Hey! Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God.
I'm just gonna.
That is the best.
Oh my God.
With all your rolls, like, why didn't you just stay and fight them? You probably would have won.
Seriously. Oh my God.
It's much funnier though.
And the guards believe you're going for your midnight jog. And Grabin is not only alive, he is safe, he's doing well, and he really earns the beer he's gonna get in a couple hours. We'll flash back over to Rye, who heard nothing, looking out the door. She slowly opened.
Okay, cool. Right looks back to Adam. She's like, the coast is clear. Let's go. Let's go. And we head back the way we came, towards the staircase.
Absolutely. As you head back the way you came towards the staircase, you peek around the corner, look again. You do not see anybody there. And so you start making your way down the stairs. Roll for me a stealth check as you go down the stairs.
Okay.
And I do have to say that staring at Grumman for the past couple of hours has made me really want some guacamole. So don't mind me as I eat my guacamole.
See, what you're not telling us is that that's actually just like an exfoliating face cream, right? That you're putting on every night.
Oh
No,
yeah.
that's actually
That's what I
guacamole.
should do.
It's actually, it's
That's
actually
a
guacamole.
great idea. Next week.
It's almost marketable.
Yeah.
Orc mask for all those times when you're playing a half orc in D&D.
Full purpose.
There's a market. There's a market.
There's a market for everything, man.
There's
Right,
niches everywhere.
an 8 and a 15.
Thank you. So the two of you sneak down the stairs. It doesn't seem as though nobody's noticing you. As you make your way down, you don't see anybody. They don't see you. Same as before. You went over this way, and you ran around this way. I assume you're going to continue to try to go back around this way over here. Or do you want to? Actually, he was walking this way before. So assuming that was the pattern.
We're gonna follow the direction he was walking, assuming that would mean either we'll end up behind him, and we won't bump into him face to face. So we're just gonna follow. We're assuming that's his route.
Mm-hmm.
He's just doing laps.
Troll.
Yeah. So we're gonna go down the right corridor because we came up the left.
Absolutely. Do me a favor. Roll me another stealth check and another perception. I imagine only one of you is peeking your head around the corner. So.
Rye can do it.
Okay. So peeking your head around the corner, you don't see anything. You don't see anybody down the hallway. Nobody notices you. Seems like everything's good. You go skirting your way down the hallway as quick as you can till you get to that front little edge where it turns the corner again to where the front room was with, like I said, the papers in the front door. And so on and so forth. You can roll me one more perception check to look around that corner. And then, awesome. You are crushing it with perception. So the two of you.
We're so perceptive of us.
I'm just imagining like you don't see anything, but like someo's following you, and you're just like,
Yeah, we're just like tiptoeing, and there's a guy just following us. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
So you go walking around the corner and you go walking into the front room, and it's not, you're rolling so poorly, it's not until now as you come out into the front room that you realize that the doors are wide open and there is a lot of commotion going on outside. The issue is the doors are wide open. There's a lot of commotion going on outside, and the 2 guards that were inside this building are now inside the doorway of the building, the front door of the building, looking outwards. But the 2 of you kind of like try to come up behind them to sneak out that front door. And now you're encountering them standing there. So that being said, roll me stealth check to make sure that they didn't hear you coming up behind them. Addo, you're brilliant.
I'm debating my inspiration.
I was thinking about it, yeah. 'Cause I don't know if we can handle them.
I'm gonna roll an inspiration.
You're gonna do another roll there, Addo?
Oh, you want me to do it as well?
He's letting you off if you want to do it.
Okay, sure.
Oh!
That's a D&D god's punishing.
So cute.
I mean, I'll take an 11.
Oh boy.
As a bonus action, I transfer the hex onto one of the guards in the doorway, so they can't perceive us as well.
Nice.
Not a terrible idea.
All right, so the 2 of you come walking around the corner. You think the coast is clear. You're like, oh, that actually wasn't so bad. We made out in this plan pretty well, didn't it? Yeah, I know. Oh, shit.
That was how I was feeling.
We were thinking about the nugget.
Some dank nuts. So you go where oh, shit, you see them. And the problem is, as you say, do whatever, one of the guards kind of notices you and turns their head back and sees you there. And like, there's one of those, like, notices and then turns their full face, like looks at you guys, sees you full on, and then turns to start reacting. Before you roll initiative to see how it is you're going to handle the situation, mind you, there are 2 of them, and I will remind you of the layout of the building in a second if you need it. There's a lot of commotion going on outside, as I had said. You didn't hear it before, you guys were distracted, whatever the case was. You didn't even notice it until you came to this front room. You kept rolling terrible. And so you hear tons of you hear yelling, you hear screaming, you hear some very deep and guttural voices from not very far down the street. Thonk is standing there with his arms crossed and a a blank expression but a satisfied feeling as he sees the 20 orcs at the command of Captain Grotz surrounding the building and literally grabbing up these men as they come as they're trying to come out of it. You know, one of them tries.
Grumman didn't do it. It was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Grumman's innocent.
So as they're coming out, trying to grab up all of them, one of them actually is scaled up along the side of the building, and they're actually on that, like I said, extremely pivoted roof, and they're trying to jump off of it to make its way over to another roof, but gets clipped by one of the several crossbow bolts go flying up at it, clips by one of them, comes crashing to the ground, and does not. It was not a very pretty thud as it happens. So there's a ton of commotion going on outside, and all of the guards, whether it be the full orc ones or the third-party mercenaries that are protecting this facility, all of their attentions were out there until the 2 of you came along and caught their attention. So.
Are they immediately hostile toward us?
You are 2 individuals that were snooping around inside a building that they were protecting, and they saw you behind them in the building.
Okay.
During a robbery where other people are currently getting caught.
You're right.
You can imagine what their immediate and correct assumption would be. So don't forget that inside each of these buildings, there are 2 other back doors, they're like loading areas or whatever it is. But like I said, they were very well locked before, and they are on the one of them is on the first floor, one of them is on the second floor. Like you can imagine, like a barn doors open up, big thing, carry stuff up, so on and so forth. So you do have 2 other exits, I suppose, or you could try to get your way out of this door, however it is you choose to do so. I suppose. Scooby-Doo scene, initiate.
Back door, get out of there.
I think Rye immediately looks over her shoulder and she's like, go unlock the back door. And then throws her head forwards and she's like, good evening, officers.
Otto just sort of slurks away, and then as soon as he's kind of out of vision, starts booking it toward the door.
Rai continues. You might be wondering what we're doing in here. We're actually with those guys. We were looking for more thieves in this building.
Totally.
My favorite part is Rai has no idea that every one of those guys are full-blooded orcs.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Rai's aware, but this is called buying time before she runs.
Yeah.
Off the Addo.
So you know what you have to roll. You know what you have to roll.
I'm aware.
Oh man.
Come on, 20.
Hey!
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Even if
Because you did not use it. Oh, wait, did you? Did you?
you did use your insight in the last roll, but
Yeah,
even
I used it. It was accidentally on advantage. So
if she did, it would still be 20 would be the lower
yeah,
one.
So we'll be fine because I mean both of them are. So, so yeah, you're we're with them or whatever it is that you're saying to them to try to convince them, and the two of them, they don't. You can clearly tell they don't want to believe you. One of their friends is dead. There is the building adjacent to them. So many of their friends were chasing off the person that did this, which could have been a distraction. There are a ton of other people, all similarly dressed, that are getting grabbed by a ton of orcs. This
dressed like me, you mean, or
similarly dressed to each other, not
Right.
like you at all. So it's one of those like they don't want to believe you. However, the way you say it, the assertion of it, they're kind of caught off guard. They're almost like they don't want to believe you, but the words you're saying, just somehow the way they fall together, it's somewhat making sense. And so they're kind of caught in this limbo between, I know I need to take action, but what action am I going to take? And so they do actually kind of turn to each other, and there's almost like a stupefied look between the two of them. And
Rai takes this opportunity to point, and she's like, "Watch out behind you!"
And roll me a persuasion, deception, whatever.
Oh, no.
God damn!
Oh, shit.
The old lookout behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Nice, dude.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Oh,
So they whip around to look to see what's going on.
I'm fucking gone.
Both of them are confused.
I'm gone. I'm straight off the Addo. That's it. They turn around. There's just dust.
Awesome. So, in the meanwhile, Addo, you kind of backed up and ran down the hallway to, I assume, the first floor set of doors.
Yes.
So you go rushing up to it as quickly as you can, and you come up to the doors. As I had said before, it was most likely, well, it actually is the case that much like a real pair of barn doors, there is a big wooden block that's making it so it would not be easy for somebody to pick this from the other side. So on top of that big wooden block, there are two other latches that can be undone. You actually have the ability to undo the latches of that big wooden block. You are tall enough to touch it on the tip of the toes. You can get the palms of your hand onto it on your tippy toes, but it would be very difficult for you to move.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not impossible.
I have short people problems. I know those feels.
So Rai is catching up to me at this point.
Well, yeah, you're running over there. She will be coming over momentarily. What do you do in the interim between when you come to the door and when she gets there? So we're talking a difference of 20 seconds or whatever, but what do you do?
Sure. I look around, see if maybe there's a stool or something I can step up on and try to give myself a boost.
Sadly, there is not. No.
Okay. I guess I just sit there pitifully and wait for
You can
help
make a
to
jump. You could try and jump. And
Sure. So you kind of look around, you look for a stool, you get frustrated with the fact that you can't find one, but luckily right about this time, you hear the pitter patter of Rai hightailing it as fast as she can down the hallway to get to you. And Rai, you come whipping around the corner to see him standing there with a semi-aggravated look on his face.
Right. Don't tell anyone, but I can't reach the block.
We're just like fighting back laughter. And she's like, we need to go. And she lifts off.
Tell them.
I won't. lifts off the big piece of wood and it thuds on the ground.
Oh, hold on. Rye has
Oh,
an 8
all right.
strength. Rye has an 8 strength. Sadly, you're gonna have to roll for that one. Gromit would be no problem. Done.
Fine.
You're welcome to assist there. There.
I was just gonna ask that. Okay, so what do I do for that one?
You just roll a strength check as well, and
Okay.
Man. Oh. Man.
Oh, how funny.
All right. Attempt number 2, I guess.
It's a little better. We're getting up there, man.
at this point in time, you imagine that the guards are no longer looking over there to see what's happening, and they're probably heading your way pretty quickly.
All right. Attempt number 3.
Mm-hmm.
We've used inspiration at this point, right?
We have.
Okay. Come on, magic number 3.
Hey.
Oh my god!
Thank God. So the two of you together. So is Addo on the tip on his tippity toes. He gets the brilliant idea. Wait, I don't need to be tall enough. I just need to lift it up enough that we could pop it off. He actually pulls out his a sword dagger, which would be thicker, whatever it is, and puts it into the little latch just underneath and uses it like a lever to hoist the wood up enough that Rye on the other side is able to throw the thing over, and the thing falls down, nearly falling on Addo's feet, but he's nimble. And right as this thing's crashing on the ground, big thud. As soon as like the sound of that stops, you hear the sound of the footsteps charging down the hallway behind you guys. So immediately afterwards, each of you grab a lock, Rye the tall one, Addo the short one, flip the locks open, and push the doors open to get out. The doors are large, they're heavy, but there are two of you together, and you push them open enough that you can slide out and
start running.
You have to say run for your lives.
I thought it may have been tea time. I just wanted to be sure. No. So,
is there any more gold around?
What was that? No.
All right.
No, there's not. So you might be able to loot the corpse on the streets if you'd like.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to make a pit stop.
So
not making a pit stop.
So the two of you slide out the back door, and luckily for you, Rye, luckily for you, the one that's with you right now happens to be the most nimble and the most can follow you and tow behind you easiest out of the other out of your three companions. So when you take to the ways that you know best, Addo doesn't struggle very much to follow and tow behind you. And the people that are chasing after you, as I said before, these are heavily armored, large people. They don't move very quickly. So it is very easy for you to give them the slip and to make it away. The only downside is that as you are making your way out of there, it's not just the mercenaries that you're trying to get that notice you as you get away. A few of the orcs see you as well. They do pay you mind at first and chase you a few steps, but once you slip quickly out of their grasp, they're not here to waste their time on chasing people through the streets for hours. They turn their attention to something that's easier to get. So the two of you do get away, but you get noticed by a couple of the orcs in the meanwhile. So on the other side of the town, Gromit, you're safely jogging to wherever it is that your goal is to go.
I did so well with that. I even asked them directions, and they provided me the directions.
Back to
down my way back.
What's the nearest bar?
Yeah.
Shouttown, come on. So
Actually, probably the nearest bar would be cool too.
Oh. So they do tell you the location of the nearest bar, and you're able to walk in. And it's kind of funny because when you walk in, it's one of those things where as you walk into the bar, the people around you are very well dressed. The bar is extremely nicely designed. The large wooden chandelier hanging with a bunch of lit candles on it. The quality of wood and the shape that the tables are currently in, like not damaged and whatnot. The bar is made out of a nice mahogany. This is a nice establishment. So when you walk in, you get that there's literally a barbarian with blood on them walking into this establishment. Not only a half orc, but a barbarian with blood on them is walking into the establishment. To say you're a sore thumb is just a disgusting understatement. So you walk into it, and everybody makes their instant judgments of you.
Okay.
So, what do you do when you walk in?
He's gonna go use the restroom.
All right, the loo it is.
Yeah.
So you make your way over to the this place actually has a restroom. Not all of them do, and you go to the place, and so there's like a wash basin which has dirty water as other people have used it to wash until it gets changed out, and there is a bench with a nice hole in it, but it's carved, so it's curved, so it's a little bit more comfortable for the buttocks.
Okay. He's gonna take a poop, and while he's doing that, he's gonna try to figure out how to tie up his, maybe use part of his like shirt that he's got, and like try to tie up like his leg and clean it up a bit. Even if he has to use dirty water, he's fine with that too.
Sure. So you clean yourself up, go to the relieve yourself. Do you go back to the bar and order a drink?
Yeah, after I'm done cleaning up my stab wound, I'm gonna go and do I need to like click or roll something for healing?
Nope, you're fine.
You can use your hit dice, right?
Yeah, then I'll just
yeah.
chill and get a drink. And I even try to use my pinky when I drink.
So when you order a drink, even the bartender is condescending to you. I think Rob, he's probably wise enough to realize they're being condescending to him.
-1 wisdom. He has a lot of charisma though. He's got some
Yeah.
charisma. He's just not very smart or wise.
Yeah. So when you go to order a drink, it's one of those like, oh, I'm not sure if you would like the drinks that we have here.
Oh, I like drinks.
So when they go to grab a mug and put it down and in front of you, they pour a mug and they put it down in front of you. He looks you kind of up and down and says, that is, of course, going to cost a silver. Like, you would not even have that money.
He gives him a little bit more than a silver, like a little tip.
He's a little surprised by that. Now, I assume Grauman's not the showy kind of person that would happen to have a couple of gold coins be seen, though he is a master of sleight of hand.
Yeah.
So he sits there and he drinks. One of the things that you're going to quickly realize, though, is should Grauman choose to stay here, it is significantly more expensive, better tasting. As to whether Grauman knows the difference, I imagine so. But better tasting, but significantly more expensive than what you would get back down in Showtown. So better quality, way
He
more.
just wants to at least have a drink because he used the restroom. So
Gotcha. So you
trying to be
pay
a good patron, you know.
patronage. Being polite. You were the kindest, most civil barbarian covered in blood to walk into this establishment I think they've ever experienced. So you have your patronage, you have your drink. People don't really engage you in conversation. Not even the bartender really engages you in conversation if you only stay for the one drink. And then I assume you make your way back to Showtown?
Sure, I guess if I don't see anybody that looks interesting enough for me to make conversation with, then I will.
Somebody interesting enough for Grauman to want to make conversation with, definitely. I mean, there are a bunch of different people. Again, they're very well dressed. So there's ladies in nice dresses with jewelry and the hair done up right and makeup on, which in Showtown, you don't see makeup on the ladies. That just, I mean, very few of them can afford to do so or even would care to do so. They're just struggling to have a loaf of bread so they don't starve tonight. But up here in this area, I mean, like everything is made out of very nice quality. This is a very wealthy district.
Okay, well, Grauman is interested then, and he would like to talk to one of these lovely ladies.
Sure. So Grauman approaches a lady in fine garb. And so as he approaches, and she does one of those like sideways glances, like, and then realize he's coming at him like, yes.
Can I buy you a drink?
Oh, that's okay. I can afford my own.
It's not a matter of affording. It's being nice. He's like looking around.
And again, just kind of like looking Grauman up and down, says, "What's your name?"
Grauman.
"Are you an adventurer?"
Sometimes I like adventuring.
And it's almost like something clicks in her mind and that of the people at the table around her. They're like, "Oh, that makes sense. That's why you're in this establishment. You're not just some like, you're not just some bloodied half-orc. You're probably very wealthy. You're probably extremely rich. You're an adventurer. You get paid hundreds upon hundreds of gold pieces to hunt down and slay dragons, like they tell in stories. And that makes sense. Okay, you're an adventurer. Okay." So she's like, "Oh, you're an adventurer. Well, yes, I'd let you buy me a drink, but you have to tell me a story."
All right. Grauman will proceed to tell a story. Do I need to like roll charisma for that, or?
Yeah, you could actually do a performance if you.
Oh,
I don't think you have points in performance though.
Nope.
It's charisma either way, so performance.
Damn. Grauman's gonna tell her of the story of one time when he killed a dragon.
I mean, Maggie, it's up to you. Feel free to role play this out, or we can keep it as simple as that.
I think that's simple. I don't want to take up too much time.
That's perfectly fine. So you do actually. I mean, this is a good performance check. I mean, you're not like crushing it the way that maybe the patrons of the establishment are used to paying.
He's modest about it, you know. He didn't like over exaggerate his killing. You know, he did have companions with him.
Sure. So hearing the story, hearing the vigor behind it, hearing the excitement, I mean, you actually literally have people on the edge of their seat at some points. You know, they're very excited to hear it. To them, part of the performance isn't just that you told the story well or whatever. It's hearing it from the perspective of a low intelligence, low wisdom half-orc who actually happens to know his way around the conversation. So it's like a story told. Like you would see an actor on stage pretend to be this, but this is it in its rawest form. And so it's a different form of entertainment they're accustomed to, and they actually very much enjoy it. By like a third of the way through the story, after you had purchased her a drink, others are actually buying you drinks. And the quality of drink varies from significantly better than you ever had in Showtown, and holy shit, I don't know if I've ever had anything like this before. So you actually have a really enjoyable experience, and you have a good time.
Don't worry about the rest of us, Grauman.
Listen,
we're just doing the job.
You just murdered an innocent man in the middle of the street.
Rush, man. He's trying to cover his tracks, you know? If people ask where he was, he'll be like, I was at this fancy establishment.
Covered in blood.
Everybody knows.
You think all orcs look the same? What the heck?
Everybody knows that adventurers are just murder hobos. It's okay. It's okay. So after he's done telling the story, after he's done getting the drinks and I suppose a small amount of notoriety with the patrons of this establishment, it's not like everybody's gathering around here. And it's the immediate table that you had initially, or the immediate area that you initially approached. Maybe those that she was already interacting with prior, and a couple others nearby that kind of come over to listen. But again, it's not like the entire establishment is standing and jumping up and singing like when you were literally singing on stage with Adam. After you're done telling the story and everything, does he want to stay and try to tell another story? Does what Grauman like to do?
No, he's got some stuff to do, so he's
And
enjoying it. He continues the friendship, so maybe he can come back sometime for sure, and then he makes his way back to the bar that we normally meet at.
Yeah. I imagine it's the guilt of his companions' metagame nagging at him that wants to pull him back to. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Just remember where everybody else was. The two of you had just escaped throughout the back of this warehouse, and you're ducking and weaving and hightailing it through all these little alleyways and trying not to get caught. And you make your way straight back to Showtown, maybe take a roundabout way before you get to the Broken Spirits Tavern. but you eventually make your way there, knowing that we completed our task and got a little nugget on the way. Thunk stands there and watches approvingly as the whole scene plays its way out. He watches as all but one of the thieves involved get arrested for what it is that they did. Even Zaris gets arrested for what had happened. Zaris is the one that you guys had encountered before.
Shanked you.
Oh, fuck that guy. Got him. Yeah, all right.
So Zaris, seeing that he's really outnumbered, he draws a weapon. He goes to fight them, but he sees that his odds are against him. And this is, again, Thunk is a very wise person. He can read people well. He can see that Zaris knows that he can, at the very, if he can't get away, which odds are not in his favor, he could cut through many of them before he does so. However, that would probably only make things more difficult for him moving forward. So after like a quick little squabble with the orcs, he does drop his blade and concede and surrender to them. Of his companions, you know that at least one of them was critically injured in their own little fight against the orcs that come in. Some of the orcs are injured. You don't know if any of them are critically. You know, one of them was hurt, decently bad, but you don't think it's critical or whatever. But they do capture all of them except for one that you saw get away, and they tried to chase after, but he did get away.
Okay.
So listening in on the thing from the side, trying to hear a conversation or whatever it is they're talking about, you do ascertain that there were 3 people that were able to get away from this, and then speaking with the other guards that eventually make their way back, like, what the hell happened here? After they finally come back out of breath and covered in sweat and exhausted, they explain that another one got away too, but that some other people were saying that he was trying to chase a different suspect. So it sounds like maybe 4 people got away.
Okay.
The 4th one potentially chasing a 5th one. So you're able to kind of gather all that.
Yep. Got it.
I'm so glad that info stayed, man. That's
She did drop like a 20 on deception at one point, didn't she? Yeah.
It's them.
So or 15, I think it was. So you once it's all kind of said and done, off from the side, Captain Gratz does look over at you and give you like a nod saying it's done. And then he like leads his men away, but not by themselves. There's a lot of commotion between the fire and all the people that kind of pulled over there and try to put the fire out. Which actually the fire out relatively quickly once they kind of got organization. But you were in a marketplace. It's a big open. Like it caught up pretty quickly. Like once a flame caught an awning, and so there was a bit of a havoc going over there. Once that was kind of settled, and then there was all this commotion over here. A bunch of city guards, maybe even a score of city guards as well, come over to join into this. So there are quite a few members of authority that are handling this. They also take custody of these thieves and they go walking off, making their way to the prison. So I suppose Thonk gives himself a pat on the back and starts making his own way back to the...
Yeah, once everything's under control, and I'm confident everything's under control, without a word, like, because I already got the nod from Gratz that, like, everything's fine. I will meander my way back to the Broken Bottle and Broken Spirits Inn.
First one back to the Broken Spirits Inn is the 2 of you, who, unlike Grommen, which you guys were expecting before, it is the 2 of you that come bursting in through the door, out of breath, and like, oh my God, we made it. We're safe. This is our haven, so on and so forth. As soon as you walk in, what do you do? Run to the bar, grab a drink, sit down, head to your rooms.
I think I make my way over to the bar, order a drink. I go sit at a table, and I just kind of, sit there relieved for a second, taking stock of the situation. What does Rye do?
I mean, Rye, she doesn't get a drink, but she joins you at the table and kind of like throws her feet up on the table and throws her hands back. She's like, woo!
Then a few moments pass by. Otto slams the drink down on the table. Fuck, we forgot Grom!
Rye just kind of like swipes the air. She's like, he'll be fine.
You sure?
Yes.
He's bleeding pretty bad.
That is Grom.
Yeah, all right. Maybe
She opens her bag and she like peers down and you see like this golden light on her face. She's like, "You want to look?"
Yeah.
Like passes it over to Addo. At the bottom of the bag.
Staring at it.
Yeah, at the bottom of the bag, next to like an old spyglass, is just this lump of gold.
Mhm.
So the two of you are there actually for quite a while before anybody else joins you. It's, I would say, almost 2 hours, almost 3 hours. So we're getting into the wee hours of the night. The two of you are probably very tired. You know, do you go to bed while you're waiting, or like do you lose? Like, I imagine like you're getting nervous. Do you go to bed instead of sitting down there waiting? Do you just keep one drink after another, whether they be fast or slow, try to stay up and wait for somebody else to join you? Like, what's the plan here?
So I think we've been having.
Yeah, go on.
I think we've been having a few, not like getting drunk, but you know, just
Yeah.
through the night having a few drinks, and I look over to Rye. I don't know if he's coming back.
Rye's snoring loudly on the table. And she's asleep on her arms. And your response is just like a.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otto looks over, considers waking her up, but then decides it's probably just best to wait for a little while longer.
Okay. So like I said, it's almost 3 hours or so that pass. And finally, after witnessing everything, being satisfied with the situation, and then choosing to meander the way back as opposed to not running by any means, Thunk finally comes through the door and looks around to see a empty tavern, except for the two of you, some drunk guy passed out on a table way off in the corner over there, and a very tired bartender that's standing around, you know, waiting for everybody to leave.
I see Thonk come through the door, and I'm glad to see him, but at this point I am also pretty exhausted, so I just sort of, hey.
I'll walk over and like again lean up against chair. I don't aggressively wake up Rye or anything, and I'll just look to you, Otto, and just say my end of the bargain, or my aspect of the job was completed. What about yours?
Yeah, we gave him the stupid chest.
I nod. Look around, see again. It's clearly way early, early hours in the morning. And what about Grommen?
We don't know.
He takes a moment, looks like he's thinking about it, nods, says, "I'll see you in the morning." And then I head upstairs.
Otto nods, takes another drink.
Thunk goes upstairs and goes to bed. The two of you continue waiting.
I think I'm going to wait maybe one more hour.
Okay.
Otto is my best friend.
After a long night of running to get away from these guys, starting very late to begin with, after standing around to tell a story, having a bunch of drinks, and then leaving the bar tipsy from a place that he has no idea where he is, trying to make his way around a city that he does not know very well, Grommen starts just trying to make his way back to Shoutown to the best way possible. And then once in Shoutown, which is designed this way, it's a bit confusing, Grommen tries to make it. Now, he's familiar enough with Shoutown because he's been there a few times, and Grommen doesn't get lost very easily, but he doesn't know the city very well. So the whole process takes hours, but mostly storytelling and drinking, but hours to get back over there. It's around when the sun starts to come up, and when Addo is finally about to throw in the towel, that finally the door opens up, and a still somewhat tipsy Grommen comes walking in. Never really got trashed before, but you know, still tipsy after walking through the night air a bit, or morning air a bit, comes walking through the door. I imagine Rye is still flat out, passed out, impression marks on the forehead on the table.
Yeah.
By this point, I think Otto is equal parts a little inebriated and sleep deprived. Sees Grommen come through the door. Grommen! Runs up to him and just grabs his leg. Just
Rye's immediately started awake.
Oh God! which leg did you grab?
Let's go left.
Oh,
Grommen's left.
yeah, Grommen's left. Was that the injured one?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it was.
Sure. Yeah, let's say it is. Yeah, totally.
Oh God.
Grauman's like, it's nice to see you too. And he kind of like motions you to kind of like get off his leg. That hurts.
Oh, sorry. I forgot about the.
It's okay.
Stab.
And then he motions for the bartender to bring him a drink. And he's like, did you do it?
Yeah. What happened?
Nothing.
All right.
Addo, as Grauman says nothing, you do smell Grauman's breath, and there's a nice sweet smell to it, like good liquor.
I haven't smelled that in a while. Where were you?
Do I know what that area is called at all?
You just know that it was a wealthy district of the city. You don't really know the different district names.
Okay. I try to like explain where I was in like a really drunken state. I'm like, the building, the thing, the signs, yeah, it looks like a flower. I don't know.
The flower. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. I didn't think they'd really be friendly with you.
I kind of told them a story about a dragon.
I'll let you keep that one to yourself.
No, it was a good story.
Yeah? I try to bring Grauman over to the table to convene with Rye again.
All right. I
Rye's
go over to
gone.
the table and I continue to tell Otto the story of the dragon.
Yeah, Rye's gone. The second you woke her up, she saw Grumman and just went to bed.
Can I re-roll to see how well I tell the story again? Because I
Ooh,
hope
yeah.
that I tell it horribly.
You go right ahead.
I just think it'd be funny.
First time anyone's ever wanted to roll low.
Oh,
That's
shit,
even
I
better.
told you better.
It's been rehearsed. It's been rehearsed.
It is fresh in your mind. It is fresh in your mind. Or at the very least, Grauman thinks he rolled an 18.
There you go.
Listen, Otto is exhausted and trashed, or at least inebriated. Grauman is also inebriated. It was an 18 for the both of them.
And any story is good at that.
Best story Otto's ever heard.
It's like, so I stubbed my toe this afternoon. Story.
Incredible. 10 out of 10.
Best story NA. Tell it again.
Yeah. So eventually the two of you go upstairs, you pass out. Needless to say, you're going to sleep in late the next day. You're up until dawn. Both of you had several drinks. The night was exhausting in and of itself. Addo went into the last night hungover. So the next day you do sleep in late. Rye probably also sleeps in a decent amount, catching up her beauty sleep after everything that had just happened. And I imagine sleeping on the table, face planted, isn't very comfortable anyways. Thunk, I mean...
Feels good.
Yeah. I mean, gets up normal, goes about normal tasks, understands they're going to be late, doesn't push anything, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So the next day, you guys are able to get up. I mean, it's up to you as to whether or not you want to role play before meeting with Forston. Is there any role playing you guys want to do? Kind of meeting around the table again, reconvening, matching up stories for when it happens. I imagine you do want to do that, yes?
Otto really excitedly, as they all gather, says, "Okay, you guys have to hear this story Grauman told me last night."
Oh God.
Oh, you're going to try to retell the story? Yes.
Yes.
Do it. Try to retell the story.
No,
So-
he's making you.
Yeah.
Wait, Grauman's telling?
Oh, you want me to retell the story?
Oh,
Oh, shit. It's gonna be
it's
really
like
bad.
Chinese whispers. Every time someone tells it, like it gets more and more epic.
No, wait. I like it better if Otto tells the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's what we're saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Addo tells a story even better than Grauman had told me.
To the point where like Grauman's like enticed by his own story.
What's gonna
Like,
happen
drawn
next?
in. Yeah. What happens
Yeah.
next?
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, that's funny. Cliffhangers. He's at the edge of his. So, Thunk, how much do you enjoy the story?
I'm like not paying attention. I don't give any feedback.
That's a 19 performance.
once the
Story, man.
oh, it's a
That's a
fantastic
good
story. That's great. It's awesome. Once the story's
Rye
done,
is fucking captivated by that story. Hasn't even touched the food yet. She's dead.
Oh, God. Once it's all done, now everybody's sober, everybody's awake. I will look again and ask more bluntly to a more awake audience, how did last night go?
Parts of it went well. Others not so much.
I slayed a dragon at the end, so.
She was riding in on a fire horse. You remember that?
Rye, how did last night go?
I'd say it was pretty golden. And as she says that, she kind of like throws a wink at her.
Otto gives a very obvious.
I imagine that you're like winking, but you like fail at doing just one eye, so you do both.
No, it's just like a really slow, obvious one.
We're meeting with Forston within an hour. Is there any problems that occurred that need covering?
I didn't kill the guard.
That kind of like it comes out of nowhere, and like he just kind of like stays silent for a second, looks at you, then looks back to Rye and Otto. How many more died?
No one. Just the
Just
dragon.
the ones you saw.
How many died? Just one guard?
It was just the one, right?
Yeah.
Just the one?
Yeah, it's just one.
Yeah, it was just the one.
And how many of them saw your faces?
Like 12.
You see Rye like produce one hand and then a second hand, and then she's like run out of fingers and she just she's like, not many. Not many.
Oh, God.
And Gromit can't count, so he's just like,
Is
Well-
Forston meeting us here? Scott?
Sorry, I was muted. So Forston, yeah, I was trying not to crunch in your ear. I figured you'd appreciate that. So Forston, he usually does meet you upstairs, yes. And
Okay.
as you said, like, he didn't give you a set time, but he gave you like, you knew around the time frame. So within an hour is an accurate assumption. And as I said, yeah, here, sorry. Simple answer, yes.
All right. We're gonna have, I mean, he's gonna have to know if he doesn't already at this point.
What? Was he gonna have to know?
Well, if the guards start fucking hunting a giant ass half-orc barbarian, like, I mean, he's gonna at least know. At least Gromit was seen.
No, I told him I didn't do it. I didn't do
Yeah.
it.
She successfully deceived the entire town.
Yes, and you killed the dragon.
Yeah, and I killed the dragon.
We'll see what Forston says. I don't know how much that's gonna, or how important that aspect of it's gonna be. We did fulfill the two things we were asked or obliged to do. Did anybody see you planting the chest in the room?
Nope.
No.
That's the important bit then.
They were too busy running after the guy who killed the guard. I didn't kill the guard.
Which was, yeah, I was going to say, which wasn't you, obviously, Gromit.
It wasn't, Doc. It wasn't.
It was the same guy that was cheating, I think.
Anyway, I will. At that point, I will
You
just
weren't
basically
there,
wait.
Adam. You weren't there.
I will basically just wait till the Forston meeting at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second.
Forston's having chips.
Yeah. It's like guacamole, So in the interim between when you were expecting the Forston meeting to happen, while you guys are there eating whatever it is that you're doing, hanging out at your typical table. And just a reminder, your stay here is being covered by Forston, so this isn't putting a hole in your pocket or anything like that. It's just your food quality and drink quality are very poor, but that's fine. So during the interim, you guys are sitting around, whether if you're engaging in conversation with each other, which I imagine at least 3 of you are, or if you're quietly sitting there with RBF staring off into darkness, which I imagine one of you is, you eventually hear a bit of commotion kind of building up in the bar around you as like people are kind of excitedly talking and so on and so forth. And then just listening into what people are talking about, whether because you're drifting off or you're just genuinely curious, you hear that they're talking about how somebody else, there was, a robbery last night. There was a huge arrest. a ton of people got arrested, and that in theory it was a leader of the Shadow Masters, sorry, of the Shadow Lords that are that got captured here, and they can't believe what it was and how many they had captured and so on and so forth. It's just like people are speaking very excitedly about it. And, you know, kind of from here and there, you get little different pieces of information. You're hearing all different stories. It's like one person's like, yeah, and they captured 30 of them. It was amazing. And there was slaughter in the streets over there. So like people are telling their own little versions of the stories, which, you know, Addo knows this. This is a huge issue he has in his profession, is that other people try to exaggerate stories so much that it can make him telling a story annoying because they've already heard about 15 dragons. When he tells the story of one dragon, it's not as exciting. But you are able to quickly ascertain that where it is that they're getting this information from is one of the town criers happens to be in Showtown right now and espousing the information for you to get your hands on. But there was a lot of commotion talking about what had happened.
Okay. Why don't we, before we get to the Forston meeting, we take our final break. We'll be back in about 3 or 5 minutes. And we'll hit our final hour of Lost Initiative and see just what the future holds. We'll see you guys in a bit. Be back. Well, except not really. Hang on.
Bye.